There's just nothing better than unwrapping something like this. It's like taking the stockings off a lady. There you have it. So pretty simple. I did clean up all the glue before I walked away. There was some glue that was underneath the clamps there, and that's okay, but you know, it's locked in, so we're good. So our next operation will be shaving this guy off and then cleaning that up. I've got it set up here with a stop block on the back and a stop block on the front there, and part of me thinks this is a horrible idea and part of me thinks it's awesome. I've adjusted these stop blocks so they're just barely out of the way of the blade, and I have run this through 2 or 3 times just to make sure we're not going to nick up the neck here. But I guess there's only one way to tell whether this is foolish or genius, and that's just to do it. So here we go. There we have it. I did leave it just a little proud. I'm not that crazy, but just barely anything to take off there. So I'll go ahead and do that next. Talk about calling one in from the bullpen or out of the miners. Here we are. This is an antique block plane or hand plane, or I don't know what they call this one, but it's long enough that it's going to do us a bunch of good, you know, at some point. Let's get a measurement on it. It looks like to me, I'm gonna say it's 14 inches before I measure it. Let's see how close I am. We're 14 inches. So a 14-inch plane, which will give us plenty of reference for an 18 or 19-inch fretboard there. So the bad news about this guy, and let's see if we can zoom in here. I'm going to try and do some fancy camera work here. So if I can figure out how to zoom my camera, that'll help. You know, a little focus. It looks like that could eat corn through a picket fence there, you know. This is pretty gnashed up. We got a pretty nasty grill on this guy. So I got to clean up all this gobbledygook down here, and I will do that. And we will use this plane. So this is pretty cool. This is obviously, my mom liked to buy antiques, and I'm guessing that's where this came from. So this has probably been in the family there for 30 or 40 years. This was $17. It is a Bailey, by the way. Somebody will probably ask me that one. It's a Bailey number 5. So there's the Bailey there, and then the good old number 5. I have no idea. I know the Stanleys are worth money and stuff like that. People collect them and whatnot, but this one's just going to be put to use. Had to go crazy with the cheese whiz on that one to grind off all that snack-a-tooth, but did that over on the grinding wheel just to get it trimmed down to size. Now we're going to get going on the whetstone here, and I just ran some oil on it, and this is going to take forever, so I'm going to turn you guys off while I find out how long forever is. Alright, we're shined up on the bottom there. I don't know if you guys can see that. Sharpened up and hopefully adjusted. I don't know. It's a little bit nervous about this, but away we go. She wants to cut. Yeah, I think my table's going to be moving more than I want it to. Oh, there it comes. I would say that is just flat as flat could be. Wow, that's pretty nice. The next thing we're going to turn our attention to is our piece of ebony here. I shouldn't be so rough with it. The supplier coated it completely in wax, so that happens with a lot of ebony because it cracks really easily. So our first thing that we have to do is remove all of the wax. So this is going to take me just a little bit to do this, and we'll come back when I got it clean. Get an 80 grit on the table there. We'll go ahead and clog her up with some ebony dust. It actually feels pretty good. When they sent this to me, it was machined on this side, and they did a pretty good job of it. You know, when you lay it down on a good flat surface, it's nice. So we'll just give her a little bit more, make sure we have all the imperfection out of it. I would say that's ready for glue up right there. We're over here in the dungeon, and I'm just going to joint this one side just to make sure that I have a good edge there, so when I glue up and I try and keep that parallel with the edge of the neck, that when I cut this perpendicular line for the nut, that I'm just dead on the money, flat and square and true and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's what we're going to do. Feels really good. Now that we have this side and that side, I should be able to first clean my path out. I'll put those two sides, and then we'll cut this in, and we're just squaring this end, and then we'll measure the other end. Got both pieces here, and I put some tape down on my special glue up bench, which also happens to double as my table saw. And I totally lied about getting some tight bond, but that's okay. You know, the old fretboards here, you really do want them to be able to come back off if you ever have a problem. Either in that you have to completely replace your fretboard, or that you have to go after your truss rod. So what I'm going to do here is spread all this out, and then we'll come back as I clamp it up. Here we are, good and buttered up there, and my jointed side is going down against the tape so that everything in theory should line up nice. And I've got my nut mark on here still, believe it or not. I'm going to give it a little, let's call it a little back and forth there, up and down, making sure everybody's happy and coated. And let's get on our line here. Bam! Clamp time. Alright, we'll let her sit overnight. Keep your fingers crossed, guys. Sometimes impatience It gets the best of me. I just can't wait till later today till I get home from work. So this first thing in the morning, truck's warming up. Oh yeah, that's cool.